Yes, beloved, I just want to talk seriously about marriage, polygamy, and monogamy. Is polygamy a sin? Let us start it like this. Yes, the word marriage comes from the Greek word gamos, which simply means marriage, and it is derived from the ancient Greek word gamio, which simply means to cause into marriage. Yes. Who was the first man that God created? Adam was the first man that God made. And many people confuse themselves about marriage and God's mentality about marriage. Adam was the man that instituted marriage, and God did approve it. So Adam asked marriage certificate from God, and God gazetted it unto Adam. So God's mentality about humanity or the creation of mankind wasn't marriage, but God's mentality about the creation of mankind or man was to keep and dress the Garden of Eden. I mean, man was created in order to watch over the creation of God. If you read the book of Genesis chapter 2 verse 15, God created mankind so that mankind would take good care of the creation of God. Things that God made, man was in charge of everything that God has made. So God's mentality of creation humanity wasn't marriage, but it was Adam that instituted marriage, and God did approve it. Yes. So when we talk about polygamy, God doesn't support polygamy, having multiple wives or having more than one wife is known as polygamy. So God is not in support of multiple wives. So Adam, when he requested marriage approval from God, God gave him Eve, one woman, not two women. So you need to take things seriously. Consider this. God gave him one wife. Yes. And it was Eve. And right after Adam, the second man was Noah. Noah stayed on the earth for several years. And God gave him one woman. So Noah too had one woman. And it continued just like that. There are some people who had multiple wives in the Bible. It wasn't God's approval. It was their own mistakes. It was their own mistakes. And based on that pattern, God didn't allow them to continue. Abraham, who was the father of nation himself, fornicated. He made mistake by having an affair with Hagar, and God commanded Abraham to ignore Hagar, meaning God wasn't in support of multiple wives. So Abraham had one wife, which was Sarah. Yes. Isaac was another man of God. Isaac had Rebekah as his wife. And as you can see, those of the men of God in the Bible who had multiple wives wasn't God's approval, but it was their own fornicative ideas and their own errors, and God didn't allow that to continue. Yes, God didn't support that. So if you consider the life of David and Solomon and the lives of the judges of Israel. They had multiple wives, but according to their own ways of life, God didn't approve that. So when we talk about polygamy, polygamy falls under four main curriculums. The biblical concept about polygamy, God's concept about polygamy, spiritual ideas about polygamy, and we have cultural ideas about polygamy. So we have some people, especially our brothers who are Muslims, they are having multiple wives. What I can say is that maybe the Holy Quran doesn't support that, but it may be some cultural practices of some of the Muslim tribes. Yes. So people who are indulging themselves in polygamy may be because of cultural practices. Yes. And God's idea about marriage is that man should have one wife, started from the bloodline of Adam. Yes, started from the bloodline of Adam. And furthermore, the Old Testament of the scripture doesn't approve multiple wives or polygamy. If you read the book of Proverbs chapter 31 verse 2 came in, Solomon himself realized his mistakes and he advised people to refrain from polygamy, having more than one wife. Yes, because the moment you practice that spiritually and morally, you are not sexually pure. Yes, in the sight of God, you are not sexually pure. And for that matter, you cannot relate with God because of your sexual immorality. Yes, and you should know about this.